When you have a very large project in your home, anywhere, even at work, and there are a lot of different strands that need to come in and meet in order for this to be completed, to be beautiful and joyous and spark your joy, you need flexibility. It's a couple days later since I cleaned up the garbage can there before I could even get into cleaning up this floor. And you see, what has already happened is we had two things. Packages come in, and so we have this. And beautifully, decluttering happening in the office, which you can't see it, but these came here. Look. More boxes. These books from the floor. These need to be recycled. And you need determination. So I've started calling this flexible determination. You're going to go through and you're going to get this accomplished, but you might not do it in the way that you planned. That is definitely going on here in this room. I started with the floor in this room a few days ago now, and I thought I was going to have time to do it on this time and on this time, and it turned out that no. Lots of little, very important things. Interruption is the speed of my life. Constant interruption. My brain interrupts me too. There are two big projects going on in my life. One is that I am cleaning and decluttering my home. And the second is that I am recording it. I am making videos. I am learning how to make videos. And I am planning my future of making videos. And so that skill making and all those strands and figuring out, there are a lot of things that I need to bring together. And I need to have patience as I'm doing this, because not everything is going to go smoothly. That's just life. Now, because of the backlighting, my face is dark, but I wanted to show you a spot in this room that shows you what I'm talking about making videos and my learning processes. That is a teleprompter. I write my thing, I put my little iPad on there. I started using the teleprompter my last video. That was the first video that I used that teleprompter. I won't be using it this video, but the reason I used it is because editing can become so difficult, and I don't want to be off camera. I want to be on camera while I'm speaking. So I just thought, okay, I'll write it down. I'm a writer, and then I'll read it out loud. I think I did okay, but doing these videos has been quite a learning process for me. When I picked up that camera, if someone had told me how many skills I was going to have to onboard my brain, I might have shied away from it. I might have said, that is too much. I'm gonna get a job. But as I've gotten this skill and this skill and this skill, I thought I knew enough because of my channel with my husband. And I did know more than average when starting a channel, but certainly not enough. But I've just been learning these skills bit by bit by bit, and how to make a better video, and one that is interesting. But like, how do I make an interesting video and not slip down into soullessness, you know. Just be myself on camera. When I'm writing, that is myself when I write on camera. Sometimes I get help from AI. I want to be transparent again because there's not enough time for me to do everything. But when I'm writing and I'm trying to get all of my ideas across, I am very comfortable doing that. I'm not afraid to be in front of the camera either. You'll probably find me a little more shy and a little more scared in a closer conversation group where everything's flying and I have to try to think about this strand and yeah. You know, my brain doesn't work as fast as I want it to, and that's why I have to edit so much, because it takes me, like, I'm thinking of the next phrase, it might take a little bit of time, and I don't necessarily have the next phrase loaded in my brain, so I might use a teleprompter sometimes, especially if I really want to get an idea across in my video. So I'm practicing with that to make sure that comes across naturally. And I just want to be myself. So tell me what you think. Is it natural or not on the teleprompter? There are things that I can do, and I'm learning and improving. But teleprompter, no teleprompter, spontaneity is good. Sometimes while I'm cleaning, things just pop into my mind and I want to say them. And then the editing gets hard. Oh, there really is this tension between authenticity and improving a workflow and being interesting. Because authentically, sometimes I sit there for about 2 minutes. You don't want to stare at me for 2 minutes while I'm thinking of what to say next. That's the reality of it. I really thought I would be writing a book. I still will write a book or 2 or 3. I think more though, I'm going to be telling people these stories on camera and with a microphone. They're great stories, and I think some people might only get to know about these stories if they listen to them or they watch them. I'm going to have to do both. But writing, I love to write. That is what I always said I would be, even when I wanted to be a scientist, even as I thought about just not having any particular calling outside of homemaker. I was still a writer. And then as a historian, I specifically went into history because I wanted to write biographies, which are stories about real people, the challenges they've dealt with. It is all so much more complicated than we understand, and the past can be so much more different than we realize. I have to admit that in the ensuing week, between me starting the floor in the pantry room and the pause and then resuming it, more recycle came in. The little stack of notebooks that I had carefully done before was knocked over. And that's why I know that every time I leave a messy project, I am going to have to come back to it and recover it back to the state I had left it in for a while. I showed you the teleprompter because I wanted to show you a little bit about, my learning process with doing the videos as well as my decluttering process, because I don't just want to be transparent. I also want to show you this is hard work. And I basically work 9 to 5 on the videos and I declutter my house. And so that is just like having a job and trying to declutter your house at the same time. And it can become overwhelming. Another issue, maybe it's not work, but maybe the body is not as fast as it once was, right? And so that can be hard. Pain involved, fatigue, depression. I'm listing all the things that can interrupt you from the plans that you have, from what you want to do. So I just want to tell you that if you are trying and you are working, you are doing enough. And it might feel like just getting up and doing like 1/4, 1/2 of the dishes, doing just a little bit is not good enough, but it is, because if you do those dishes again after the next meal or the next day and you wash a few more dishes than you used, you have made some progress there. Recovering from illness, recovering from depression, recovering from overwhelm-induced clutter that at first it wasn't a big job and then it becomes a big job and you look at it and you're like, whoa, I can't deal with that now. But when you deal with it later, it's even bigger. These kinds of things don't stop growing. But recovering from that either takes a lot of money to pay someone to help you. It takes a lot of time, or it takes you being, very healthy and very fast and putting a lot of energy into it and having everything you need to get it done right now. We might not have any of those things. So as you look around your home and see the things that you need to work on, it really helps you to see the kind of progress that you are making. That is why I highly encourage you to start writing it down or taking pictures, showing it. I was just telling my mom this. I have to admit that in the ensuing week, between me starting the floor in the pantry room and the pause and then resuming it, more recycle came in. The little stack of notebooks that I had carefully done before was knocked over. Speaking of my mom, announcement, I am going to go up to Idaho to visit my mom, and I'm going to help her declutter her sewing room. I want to tell you about my mom. She had a heart attack like a couple of years ago, and before that, she had just been so tired for a long time, and her thinking had been cloudy. And they had been trying to figure out what was wrong for a lot of years. They were doing their best. My mom has a few other health conditions, and there was some trying to see what it was that was actually causing her lack of energy. The heart attack was actually had in the hospital while they were trying to fix the clogging that was making her thinking cloudy. So she recovered from that whole thing. And my mom told me that as she's been decluttering her sewing room, there are projects that she actually forgot she got before the heart attack. So there is a lot for her to do. A lot that is in there. The accumulation of years, the realization that now there's not as much time to finish all of the things that she wants to finish, and having fabrics because they're interesting. My mom is a very creative person. She always has been. She is who I got my writing bug from. And she's done many things, cool things, sewing things. My mom got me into quilting and sewing. My dad got me into engineering. Both of them are creative, intelligent people that I enjoy having conversations with. Anyways, she does just want to sew. So her room needs to be decluttered, organized, and set into a functional, calm place where she can just enjoy sewing right now. I will be recording myself doing that, so if you want to see my mom's sewing room too, as well as me continuing to take care of this pantry room, subscribe. Sometimes things take longer than we think they will. We can't get discouraged. We can only move forward. And what if I died tomorrow? Would I regret the time that I spent here? I don't think so. If I knew I was going to die, I would obviously change what I did. But that's not a fair argument because I don't know. So I made informed decisions based on what is most likely to happen, and that's that I'm not going to die tomorrow. What I was doing today was improving my home. And even if I never finish improving my home, and I never will, because once I get done with everything that is on my list, something else has cropped up. Whether it's repairs or dreams for something even better. I was making progress. And progress with these material things is still progress because we are learning. Be kind to yourself. That is the best thing you can do to move forward and to help other people also. That's it for the floor. Next, I'm tackling these shelves right back here. And I'm going to move everything over there. And that will be on this video.